Everybody. So tonight, I'm filming this at night. We are going to be talking about deep space astrology stuff. I haven't done a video on any of this in a while. Nothing on the GC or anything in a while, video-wise. I definitely am still working behind the scenes on this shit. And the research is still continuing, but I haven't done a video on it in a while. And recently I've had a lot of clients over the past couple months reach out wanting me to do my galactic grand cross reading for them, which focuses primarily on, like the galactic center, supergalactic center, galactic anti-center, and whatever the fuck opposes a supergalactic center that I'm calling blank space. This reading does focus on that, but I also throw in other deep space things, like the Great Attractor and the Shapley Attractor. The Shapley Attractor is what I'm going to be talking about now. I've wanted to do a video on this for a while. I don't really know why the fuck I haven't, so I'm doing it now. But before I get started on that, I want to throw out my disclaimer like what I do with the GC videos. I am not like a Shapley Attractor or Shapley Supercluster expert. I do feel like I have a decent handle on it at this point, but I'm still learning. Still testing things, still seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. But I like to share my theories with you all, and I haven't done this in a while, so I figured I would throw out some ideas that I have about Shapley in a natal chart, and what planets conjunct Shapley, planets, angles, whatever conjunct Shapley could mean, how they might play out. Also, because I am talking about deep space stuff, sometimes I will get people that perhaps are looking for actual scientific things, like they'll type in Great Attractor and they're looking for scientific things, and like I'll pop up. My videos, my video on the Great Attractor in a natal chart will pop up. And I have been left some comments before, like essentially trying to tell me that I'm stupid for doing this. I don't give a fuck. I'm just throwing this out there. If you found this by accident and you're not looking for something astrology related, you're looking for something more scientific, you can just run along. if you think what I'm doing is stupid, because I will not respond to you. I'll literally leave your comment, your asshole comment up in all of its glory, and I will block you and I will not respond. So, I mean, yeah, I just want to throw that out there. If you're, I don't give a shit. I'm talking to the people that actually care about this, not people that don't, that accidentally wound up here and that just want to be nasty. So anyway, the Shapley Attractor. So the Shapley Attractor is even bigger than the Great Attractor. And I did do a video on the Great Attractor about almost 2 years ago now. That's crazy that it was that long ago. And the Great Attractor is like an anomaly, a deep space anomaly. Scientists, as far as I know, don't really know what it is. Kind of functions like a black hole, but it's not a black hole, and it pulls things to it. Shapley is rather the same thing. It's like a bigger attractor. It's within or near the Shapley supercluster, and it is pulling supercluster of galaxies, and it is pulling a bunch of different fucking galaxies towards it, like within the universe. These are just being pulled towards it. It is attracting things towards it. And so, and another thing about it, this is another thing that I'm not 100% clear on. It seems like some people feel like now the Great Attractor might actually be a part of the Shapley Attractor, or a part of Shapley. This very well could be the case. Now, in a natal chart, I will still read them as individual things. I think they're both individually important. The Great Attractor is at like 14 degrees, some odd minutes Sagittarius. And Shapley is at 2 degrees and some odd minutes of Scorpio. So they're far enough apart. Like, I think they could work together. And I do think that if you have somebody who has like a planet or an angle or whatever conjunct the Great Attractor, and they have a planet or angle or whatever conjunct Shapley, I think that the great attractor, well, I do think of them as separate things in the natal chart. I do think that the great attractor, something conjunct the great attractor, can almost be like, can almost flow into Shapley, if that makes sense, or feed into Shapley. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that is kind of how I think of it in my head. Like they are separate things, but the great attractor can kind of flow into or feed Shapley. So I've been looking at charts with planets conjunct Shapley. And I have a planet conjunct Shapley too. I have Mars at 0 degrees Scorpio. So it's within like 2 degrees of Shapley. And I kind of think of it as like the great attractor on steroids. The great attractor is a place where we kind of attract things to us. We are able to pull things towards us, whether that be, and I think this happens regardless, right? Like this happens regardless if it's conscious or not. You're somebody that has a planet, an angle, whatever, conjunct the great attractor is going to pull things towards it because the great attractor attracts. In the case of Shapley, I think the same thing happens, but in an even more extreme way, because we're talking about Shapley being in Scorpio. Scorpio energy is more extreme. So I think that can happen here. Like, I do think it kind of functions like that. And I have here in my notes, because I've taken some notes on this over time. I feel like the Shapley attractor, it can attract situations or people, places, and things into your life or into one's life that make you or force you to understand the planetary energy involved. Now, in saying that, there is a lower vibrational way that like Scorpio energy can function, a higher vibrational way that Scorpio energy can function, a lower vibrational way that all the different planets can function, and a higher vibrational way that all the different planets can function. And I do think that Shapley, when you've got a planet conjunct Shapley, it's going to attract that planetary energy to you in a very extreme way. For the good or for the bad. I think it probably will. And how challenging that is or how easy that is, I think very much depends on what else is going on with that planet in the chart. Is it making a bunch of more challenging aspects? Is it making a bunch of more easy aspects? I think it kind of depends on what that planet is doing. But I think there is an extremity to what it attracts, how it attracts, and where it attracts. What here is the planet, the sign is how, and the house is where. So yeah, you might find that like, I also didn't say this. As far as conjunctions go, I am focusing on conjunctions here for Shapley, specifically. I'm going out 10 degrees on either side. So like from, we'll say 22 degrees Libra to 12 degrees Scorpio. Now, obviously, the closer that planet is to being exactly conjunct Shapley, the more impact it's going to have. I do realize that 10 degrees on either side is kind of wide, but following suit with what I've done so far with the galactic center, I think it's a fair thing a fair orb to use. So yeah, if you have a planet or an angle or something from 22 degrees Libra to 12 degrees Scorpio, I would say it is within the Shapley attractor's reach. And there is but like I said, again, depending on how close, it is to being conjunct Shapley, the more pull it's going to have. Like, for instance, like I mentioned, I have Mars there at 0 degrees Scorpio, conjunct Shapley. I also have Pluto at 10 degrees Scorpio. Pluto's not quite, it's not quite, it's further out, right? It's still within that window of orb, but it is further out. So Mars is going to be the thing to focus on here for me. And I do think that because of the extremity with the pulling, Because that is what Shapley does. The Shapley Attractor does. It pulls things to it. I do think that people that have planets or an angle or whatever conjunct Shapley can find themselves faced with the extremity of that planet, with being thrown different situations in their life, that kind of force them to face that planet or deal with that planet. People, places, and things. Like a personal example, I have Mars conjunct Shapley, and I know this, I have pulled people to me for better or worse. A lot of times it feels like it's worse, for the worse. But people, places, and things that are very much the lower vibrational qualities of Mars and Scorpio. And I feel like that is to kind of show me or teach me something about how to utilize my Mars and Scorpio in a higher vibrational way. I've talked to clients as well that have had this, planets, not Mars necessarily, but planets conjunct Shapley. And it does seem to fit that they have found themselves attracting the more extreme and perhaps even challenging manifestations of the planetary energy in question. Now, I think what can help attract the more positive or easy manifestations of that planetary energy has to do with being very conscious of what you are attracting. Because if you've got a planet conjunct Shapley, just like if you have a planet conjunct the Great Attractor or an angle or whatever, you're already attracting shit to you. It's already fucking happening. It's already fucking happening. What matters is what you're attracting, and that you're conscious of what you're attracting, so that you are attracting the higher vibrational qualities of that planet in question. I also think it's very important that to attract the higher vibrational qualities of that planet in question, that the person with planets or an angle or whatever conjunct Shapley are trying to always function at the highest vibrational whatever of that planet or that angle. Because I do think that if, say, like, you've got, like, I don't know, if you feel like you're, like, I don't know, like, let's say you've got Venus in Scorpio, and it's conjunct Shapley. Like a lower vibrational thing about Venus and Scorpio could be relationships being more secretive, or something along those lines. If let's just say, just hypothetically, somebody is functioning that way with Venus and Scorpio, they might also attract that to them, right? It's very possible. However, if they try to function that Venus and Scorpio from a higher vibrational way of functioning, they can attract the higher vibrational qualities of Venus and Scorpio energy. So I think it's very important that not only is the person very conscious of what they are attracting with that planetary energy, but also always trying to function that energy from a positive place, or from a higher vibrational place, so that it can pull in the higher vibrational qualities of that planet, being very conscious of that. But regardless, if you have something conjunct Shapley, you're pulling shit to you. You are pulling shit to you. You are bringing shit to you. So you might as well be very aware of what that is. When you yourself are functioning with whatever planet conjunct Shapley a little fucked, I know that I have functioned my Mars and Scorpio a little fucked, though in my case it tended to be not embracing it enough. I had to learn how to fight. And it's still something that I'm having to learn how to do, not be so fucking nice. Which is hard. Not that I need to be nasty, but you know what I mean. Like, I think for me, I think I've found myself in situations where I've had to learn how to fight. And I think that's part of it, learning that I have fight in me. Not to just roll over. But of course, how this all, you know, if you've got a planet conjunct Shapley, you do want to take the whole chart into account. But definitely let me know in the comments below if you have something conjunct Shapley, how you feel like it plays out for you. There's also another video I'm probably going to do about this as well, to kind of add on, because there's also the dipole repeller opposite Shapley, that I also think is important. It's a big super void. Anyway, I'm gonna head off, but if you want me to read for you or anything like that, I will put where you can find me in the description box below, and I will see y'all later.